For 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were guardians of peace, noble protectors. They were the sentinels of the galaxy, standing as a bulwark against the forces of darkness and chaos. Their presence alone was enough to deter many who would seek to disrupt the harmony of the Galactic Republic. The Jedi were more than just warriors. They were diplomats, scholars, and healers. They dedicated their lives to the service of others, embodying the principles of selflessness and sacrifice. Wielders of the mystical Force. The Force was their ally, a powerful energy field that connected all living things in the universe. Through rigorous training and deep meditation, the Jedi learned to harness the Force, using it to perform incredible feats. They could move objects with their minds, influence the thoughts of others, and even see into the future. The lightsaber, a weapon of elegance and precision, was the symbol of their order. Each Jedi crafted their own lightsaber, imbuing it with a part of their essence. They stood watch over the Galactic Republic. The Jedi were the guardians of peace and justice, ensuring that the Republic remained a beacon of hope and prosperity. They served as advisors to the Senate, offering their wisdom and guidance on matters of great importance. Their presence was a reminder that the Republic was protected by those who were dedicated to the greater good. The Jedi were often called upon to mediate disputes, negotiate treaties, and lead missions of mercy, a beacon of hope in the galaxy. The Jedi were respected, they were revered. Their commitment to justice and peace earned them the admiration of countless beings across the galaxy. They were seen as the embodiment of the Republic's ideals, a shining example of what it meant to serve others selflessly. The Jedi were not just warriors, they were teachers, mentors, and friends. They inspired hope in those who had none and brought light to the darkest corners of the galaxy. Their connection to the Force gave them extraordinary abilities. The Jedi could sense the emotions and intentions of others, allowing them to act with compassion and understanding. They could heal wounds, both physical and emotional, and bring comfort to those in pain. Their mastery of the Force made them formidable opponents in battle, but they always sought peaceful solutions first. The Jedi believed that true strength came from within, from a deep connection to the Force and a commitment to the principles of the Jedi Code. Jedi brought justice to the galaxy. They defended the innocent. Whenever there was a threat to peace, the Jedi were there to confront it. They faced down warlords, criminals, and dark side users, always standing firm in their resolve to protect the vulnerable. The Jedi were not just enforcers of the law. They were champions of justice, fighting for those who could not fight for themselves. Their courage and dedication were unmatched, and their actions inspired others to stand up for what was right. Their wisdom was sought by many. The Jedi were known for their deep understanding of the Force and the ways of the universe. They spent years studying ancient texts, meditating on the mysteries of existence and honing their skills. Their insights were invaluable, and many sought their counsel on matters both great and small. The Jedi were teachers and mentors, passing on their knowledge to the next generation. They trained young Padawans, guiding them on the path to becoming Jedi Knights. But their light would soon be extinguished. A darkness was rising. The Jedi sensed a disturbance in the Force, a growing shadow that threatened to engulf the galaxy. They knew that a great challenge lay ahead, one that would test their resolve and their faith. The dark side was gaining strength, and its influence was spreading. The Jedi prepared for the coming storm, but they could not foresee the true extent of the danger they faced. The darkness was closer than they realized, hidden in plain sight. It would consume the galaxy. The dark side's power was growing, and its reach extended to every corner of the galaxy. Planets fell into chaos, and entire systems were plunged into darkness. The Jedi fought valiantly to stem the tide, but the darkness was relentless. It corrupted the hearts and minds of many, turning friends into enemies and allies into adversaries. The galaxy was on the brink of collapse, and the Jedi were the last line of defense against the encroaching darkness. And it started with the cunning deception of one man, Palpatine. He was a master of manipulation, hiding his true nature behind a facade of benevolence. As a senator, he gained the trust of the people and the confidence of the Jedi. But behind the scenes, he was orchestrating a grand plan to seize power and plunge the galaxy into darkness. Palpatine's rise to power was marked by deceit and treachery, and his influence spread like a cancer through the Republic. A wolf in sheep's clothing, Palpatine's true identity as Darth Sidious, a Sith Lord, was hidden from all but a few. He played a long game, carefully manipulating events to his advantage. His ultimate goal was the complete destruction of the Jedi and the establishment of a new order under his rule. The Jedi, despite their wisdom and power, were caught off guard by his cunning. The darkness that Palpatine unleashed would change the galaxy forever, and the Jedi would face their greatest challenge yet. Palpatine was a master manipulator. From the very beginning, he understood the power of perception and the art of deception. His every move was calculated, his every word carefully chosen to sow seeds of doubt and discord. He was a man who thrived in the shadows, where his true intentions could remain hidden from those who sought to uncover them. He used his position as senator to gain power. In the grand halls of the Senate, he played the role of a dedicated public servant, always advocating for peace and stability. But behind the scenes, he was a puppet master, pulling the strings of chaos and fear. He knew that in times of uncertainty, people would look for a strong leader to guide them, and he positioned himself to be that leader. His true goal was absolute control. Every action he took, every alliance he formed was a step towards this ultimate objective. He was patient, willing to wait years, even decades, to see his plans come to fruition. He understood that true power was not seized in a single dramatic moment, but built slowly, brick by brick, until it was unassailable. He preyed on the Jedi's trust. The Jedi, with their unwavering belief in the goodness of others, were easy targets for his manipulations. He feigned weakness, presenting himself as a humble servant of the Republic, someone who could be trusted and relied upon. He knew that the Jedi's compassion would be their undoing, and he exploited it at every turn. He presented himself as an ally, a friend. To those who did not know his true nature, he was a beacon of hope and stability. He cultivated relationships with key figures, always ensuring that he was seen as a trusted confidant. His charm and charisma were tools he wielded with expert precision, disarming even the most cautious of his opponents. He manipulated events from the shadows, always one step ahead. He orchestrated conflicts and crises, knowing that each one would bring him closer to his goal. He was a master strategist, always thinking several moves ahead, like a grandmaster in a game of chess. His opponents never realized they were playing his game until it was too late. He became the Supreme Chancellor, the Republic's leader. With this title, he held the reins of power, able to shape the future of the galaxy. According to his vision, his rise to this position was the culmination of years of careful planning and manipulation. He had finally achieved the power he had always sought, but his ambitions did not end there. The Jedi were none the wiser. Despite their wisdom and insight, they failed to see the darkness growing right under their noses. They were blinded by their own sense of righteousness, unable to comprehend the true extent of Palpatine's deceit. By the time they realized the threat he posed, it was already too late. The shadow had grown too large to be stopped. The Jedi and the Republic were bound together. For centuries they worked as one. Jedi served as generals, diplomats, peacekeepers. They were the guardians of the Republic. The Jedi trusted the Republic. They believed in its ideals. They fought to protect its citizens. They never suspected the darkness growing within, the darkness embodied by Palpatine. The Clone Wars erupted. What began as a conflict between the Galactic Republic and the Separatist Alliance quickly escalated into a full-scale war that engulfed the entire galaxy. Star systems were drawn into the fray, and the battle lines were drawn across countless worlds. The galaxy was in turmoil. Civil unrest spread like wildfire, and cities that once stood as beacons of peace and prosperity were now under siege. The very fabric of society was being torn apart, and the hope for a swift resolution seemed to fade with each passing day. Palpatine used the war to his advantage. He amassed more power. As Chancellor, he presented himself as the savior of the Republic, promising security and stability. Yet behind the scenes, he manipulated events to consolidate his control, playing both sides against each other to further his own agenda. The Jedi were drawn into the conflict. They fought bravely. They defended the Republic. The Jedi Knights, guardians of peace and justice, found themselves on the front lines, leading clone troopers into battle and striving to protect innocent lives amidst the chaos. But the war took its toll. The relentless fighting left planets scarred and soldiers weary. The cost of war was measured not just in lives lost, But in the erosion of hope and the deepening of despair, the once noble cause seemed to be mired in endless conflict. Doubt crept into the Jedi Order. The Jedi Council, once confident in their mission, began to question their role in the war. They sensed that something was amiss, that the conflict was not as straightforward as it appeared. The wisdom of the Force seemed clouded, and uncertainty loomed large. They sensed a disturbance in the Force, a growing darkness. Visions of shadow and foreboding haunted their meditations. The Force, which had always been their guide, now seemed to whisper warnings of an impending doom, a darkness that threatened to consume everything they held dear. They couldn't see its source. They didn't suspect Palpatine, not yet. The Jedi sought answers, but the true architect of their troubles remained hidden in plain sight. Palpatine, with his calm demeanor and reassuring words, continued to deceive them, his true intentions masked by a facade of benevolence. Section 5, The Emperor's Trap. Palpatine revealed his true nature. He was Darth Sidious, a Sith Lord. He had orchestrated the war, he had manipulated the Jedi. They were his pawns. The Jedi were betrayed, they were outmaneuvered, they were trapped. Their trust had been shattered, they had been deceived by the one they swore to protect. Section 6, Order 66. Execute the Jedi. Palpatine issued Order 66. A cold and calculated command. The clone troopers turned on their Jedi generals. They opened fire. Jedi fell across the galaxy. The betrayal was swift, brutal. The Jedi were caught off guard, their connection to the Force clouded by fear. Chaos reigned. The Jedi Order was broken. Section 7, A Galaxy in Chaos. The galaxy descended into darkness. The Republic crumbled. Palpatine declared himself Emperor. The Jedi were branded traitors, hunted by the Empire. Fear gripped the galaxy. The Emperor's reign of terror had begun. The Jedi, once symbols of hope, were no more. Section 8, Survivors and Legacy. A few Jedi survived, scattered, broken, forced into hiding. They were the last remnants of a bygone era, the last hope for the galaxy. They carried the legacy of the Jedi, their teachings, their values. They would pass on their knowledge. They would keep the hope for a brighter future alive. Section 9, Hope endures. The Jedi Order was gone, but the Force remained. It flowed through the galaxy. It whispered of hope, of a new generation. Someday the Force would awaken, a new hope would emerge, and the galaxy would be free from the tyranny of the Empire. The fight for freedom had just begun.